Hi everybody, Soccer Savant. It's June 15th and it's a big day obviously for the US men's national team. Big game against Mexico. This is probably the biggest game of the year thus far for the US men's national team. You could even say the biggest game since the World Cup. It's the semifinals of the Nation League, the Nations League for CONCACAF, and the game's going to kick off here in just about an hour, a little more than that. Very exciting day because we have uh, debut of Balogun, of Fuller and Balogun, which is really exciting. He's finally in the fold, and it looks like he's projected to start. I haven't seen the official starting lineup yet, but he was in the quote unquote projected starting lineup this morning, and that's exciting. And also, I think Giovanni Reyna is also likely to start and as the 10. So if we see him in there as the 10. It will be a repudiation again of Berhalter, as Anthony Hudson will have started Reyna as the 10, and this new guy, BJ, will have started Reyna as well. So with Reyna, Pulisic, Weah, and Balogun as our attacking four, this should be a very exciting game. I'm a little bit nervous that BJ is going to start Walker Zimmerman in defense. We have better center backs. I'm not sure why we don't have John Anthony Brooks here, but it should be Chris Richards and either Miles Robinson or Walker Zimmerman. So it should be a great game. Now, I have one take that I wanted to offer here tonight, which is, we are playing Mexico tonight, but I think the evidence is increasingly clear that Anthony Hudson was forced out, and I don't think he left by his own choice. And the reason that I think that seems to be the case is, first of all, if we look at Hudson's tenure, having taken over from Berhalter as the interim head coach, it was a great run. I mean, he had basically won over a skeptical fan base. A large amount of the fan base was increasingly behind him because he came in and he implemented immediately. Well, first thing he did is he brought in Gio Reyna right back into the fold immediately. He finished the recruiting of Zendejas. He, eventually got us Balogun as well. But even more importantly, possibly than all of that, is that he showed tactical flexibility, and he immediately began playing with an attacking 10, a central attacker that Berhalter was hidebound to his system, never played with. And so Hudson was doing really well, was popular. We're going into these two big tournaments, the Nations League, where he could win, a serious trophy, and then we have the Gold Cup. And then suddenly he leaves. And what we're supposed to believe is that he left. There was no job position announced. What's just now been announced, it looks like, is that he's taking a job as a head coach in the Qatari League. Okay, and to take a step back and think about that, so you have the chance for the first time as the head coach of the United States, which is not one of the top 10 best, international coaching positions in the world, but it's probably in the top 20, and with the World Cup coming up in 2026, it's close to the top 10. It's probably one of the best coaching positions you can get. And he was about to win his first silverware. Most likely there's a good chance you either win the Nations League or the Gold Cup or both. But instead, we're supposed to believe he's like, yeah, it's just about to happen next month, but I'm going to leave for a coaching position in the Qatari League. And just to put that in perspective, so the most prestigious coaching positions are in the top 5 leagues in the world. Those are more prestigious generally than coaching national teams. If you can get a job coaching in the Premier League, in the French League, the top league is the Premier League, or the German League, Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A in Italy, or Ligue 1 in France. If you can get one of those jobs coaching there, those are the most prestigious jobs in the world. After that, though, you have national team coaching. If you're not going to coach one of the top 10 teams in the world, national team coaching then is the next prestigious thing of major nations, or coaching in lower leagues. But to get to the Qatari League, it's way lower, right? You have that top 5 leagues, then you would be coaching, maybe you'd say you could coach in the Dutch League or the Portuguese League, which is sort of like tier 2 of the leagues in the world. And then joining tier 2, it's sort of, you get into this area where there's, maybe you'd say the Brazilian League, maybe the Mexican League, possibly the Turkish League or the Russian League. Some of these leagues that are in Tier 2. MLS is upcoming and is about to join Tier 2 if it's not already there, certainly with the joining of Messi. But an MLS coaching position or a coaching job in the Turkish league or in the Brazilian league is less prestigious than coaching the United States, with the exception of a few teams in like the top Brazilian or top Turkish team, for example. Um, and but then you move down to like the next tier where you have like the Scottish league and maybe the Swiss league and the Danish league, and you start getting into these smaller and smaller. Those are still more prestigious than coaching in the Qatari league, right? That's like tier 5 or tier 6. I mean, it's really low. It's so low that I suspect that's the kind of position he found after he was forced out by U.S. Soccer. And the reason I think he was forced out not only is the strange career move to leave right when you're about to have the most prestigious moment in your career. I mean, he'd coached New Zealand before, which he did okay with, but New Zealand is a minnow compared to the United States. And now, right on the eve of winning his first silverware, he just leaves for a job in the Qatari League. What I think happened is he had come out and said, look, we need, I'm going to play mostly the same roster in both the Nations League and the Gold Cup. I want our best players to get really comfortable with each other, really play a lot together. There'll be a slight difference in the Gold Cup. Some of these players we need to stick in their new clubs in Europe or wherever they are. But for the most part, I want to keep the same core. Then, a few days after he puts that out, this is when he's still head coach, there's this announcement from US Soccer and from MLS that, we're expecting a very different roster in the Gold Cup. It'll be a very MLS-heavy roster. So you have these two completely different announcements, one saying it's going to be largely the same, and then MLS saying it's going to be totally different. And then he leaves, or he's kicked out, which is, I think, what happened. I think he was pushed out. And now, and what's the other confirmation? Not only does he have this job in Qatar that is it's not enough reason, really. Maybe he's getting a ton of money. I just can't see it's enough reason if you're trying to develop a career to leave the United States position when you're about to win some tournaments, to go to Qatar. And then the Gold Cup roster comes out, and B.J. Callahan is appointed. So B.J. Callahan is the assistant to the interim assistant. It's sort of like that moment in Coming to America when Eddie Murphy meets the guy at who's washing lettuces. I'll show you that, right? It's the assistant manager. B.J. Callahan comes in, and what does the Gold Cup roster look like that he released? It's a Greg Berhalter MLS roster. It's full of MLS players. It's totally different. There's almost zero players that are in the Gold Cup and the Nations League roster. It's our C team or our D team, if you look at it. So it's exactly what MLS and US Soccer seem to have wanted that Anthony Hudson wasn't going to do. And so now we have the rosters come out for the Gold Cup. It doesn't look like tonight's roster at all. And then you have this issue of him taking a job in the Qatari League. So tonight is still a very exciting night. It's going to be a great game to watch U.S.-Mexico. But I think the real variable is B.J. Callahan. On paper, we definitely have the better players. We have the more talented players, the more informed players. The Mexican roster is by and large playing in weaker leagues. But they have a new coach, Diego Coca, who has come in and has immediately set up his style of play. There's a coherence there. We have this completely unknown, unnamed, what seems to be a yes man for U.S. Soccer and for MLS, who's going to play their players, the MLS players in the Gold Cup, probably to help MLS make money selling those players to Europe. They'll use the Gold Cup as a showcase. Rather than to develop our talent and to develop our international team, we're going to use the Gold Cup as a showcase to try to sell MLS players to Europe. That's why I think BJ was brought in and Hudson was forced out. I could be wrong. That's my theory right now. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm right or wrong about this. Or if I missed something. Maybe he got a better position than I'm aware of. I think it's the Qatari League he's going to. So the real variable tonight is BJ Callahan. And is he going to just let the guys play? He certainly doesn't have the experience or the expertise. He has no professional career behind him to sit there and talk to guys who play in the top 5 leagues in Europe and tell them how to play or what kind of strategy to adopt. In fact, they all know he's interim, and they're not going to listen to him anyway. So I just hope he doesn't try to coach them, honestly. I hope he just sits back and says, go have fun, guys. It's your rival. Go win. And, he may not make many in-game adjustments, but it'll also be really interesting to see if he plays the team more like Berhalter or more like Hudson in terms of does he allow a central attacker? Does he allow what kind of in-game adjustments, if any, does he make? All right, well, that's it. So that's it from the Soccer Savant today. I think Anthony Hudson was forced out. Tonight should be a great game. Mexico, United States. I'm really excited to see Balogun and Reyna and Pulisic and Weah attack together. There is a weakness in the central midfield with Tyler Adams out, so I'm concerned to see how. I am assuming it'll be Musa and Yunus Musa and Weston McKennie in there. There is a possibility that we see like a Luca De La Torre or I don't know, Senora could go in there. I doubt it, but we'll have to see. All right, that's it. Soccer Savant signing off. I'll see you at the game tonight. Actually, I'll just be online watching it, but talk some more soon.